Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, and happy Friday for everyone here at Prime Sports World. Friday the 13th, so don't forget to leave out your cookies for Jason, just in case he doesn't show up at your house tonight. But yeah, of course, I'm David Helping right there, CEO of Prime Sports World, Ms. Israel Rivera, and today we are going to be breaking down who we think are going to be taking home NFL hardware basically next year. Way too early predictions on who we think is going to be winning all of the different awards when it comes to the NFL season. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and on the YouTube, Prime Sports World, pretty good place to hang out. We go live 6 times a week, bringing you the most up-to-date content. If you're looking for us on Facebook, we're Prime Sports World on Facebook. We're Prime Sports World on YouTube. We are Prime Sports World on Twitch, and then we are PSW_David on the Twitter. So follow us on all the places, and please subscribe and continue to let us know what we're doing here. You guys enjoy what we're doing here at Prime Sports World. Izzy, man, how you doing, buddy? What's good?
Doing good. Over here, just glad to be on the podcast with you guys and or with you. So we're just ready to rock and roll. It's a beautiful Friday here. So hopefully everybody enjoys the weekend.
Yeah, it's 86 degrees here in Chicago. I swear, man, it's hotter right now in Chicago than it was all last summer.
Yeah, it was super hot. And so I took a trip to a nice cooler place. So I'm over here just. I'm chilling. I had to get out that heat, man. I complain 8 months about the cold, and then once the heat comes,
it's true.
I'm ready to get out. Yeah.
It's true. Let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about the most important award, Most Valuable Player of the Year award, the MVP. Last 2 seasons has been taken home by your guy, Mr. Aaron freaking Rodgers. Do you think he three-peats and takes home another MVP, or do you think there's another guy looking to take home that hardware this year?
This year is Josh Allen's year to get that hardware. If he doesn't get the most valuable player this year, I think the Bills are going to have the best record in the NFL. I think they're going to have the best offense in the NFL. And I think Josh Allen's going to have the best numbers by far. Not running, but throwing the football, completion percentage. He's only gotten better every single year since he's been in the league. And I don't know how much better you can keep getting how he was last year. He's just been progressing as a passer tremendously. So give it to Josh Allen. This year is his year to win MVP.
So you stole my thunder a little bit, as one tends to. I 100% agree with you. I think Josh Allen is going to be the MVP. But I gotta go. We gotta talk about different guys that have the opportunity to win the MVP. When you look at the odds for the NFL odds, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is in the conversation. Tom Brady obviously in the conversation. Aaron Rodgers in the conversation. But let me throw a dark horse guy out there for you. Also in the AFC, Justin Herbert. You could look for the Los Angeles Chargers making a major step forward. They improved that defense in the offseason with an offense that was already clicking on a lot of cylinders last year. Justin Herbert could be a guy who, if they end up winning the AFC West and they have a dominant team and they're maybe the 1 or 2 seed in the Eastern in the AFC, Justin Herbert could be the guy that wins this award. Do I think he's going to overtake Josh Allen? Because I think Josh Allen's been building toward this. He's gotten better every single season. I am a little bit concerned about what the offense is going to look like with Brian Daboll not there anymore in Buffalo. But Justin Herbert, I mean, they've added weapons. They've added stuff to this offense. They've increased the offensive line, so he should have some more time to throw. And this should be a defense that should be improved.
Yeah, and if I'm going to throw another name out there, and it seems like they've lost all the pieces. And if this guy has a 2,000-yard season and he has his team back in the playoffs or win that division, give my guy, my dark horse is going to be Derrick Henry. Okay, I know we haven't seen a running back win the MVP award since what? Adrian Peterson?
Yeah, I think Adrian Peterson won the last one when he ran for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, so I think this year, if Derrick Henry can run for 2,000, over 2,000 again, and he has his team winning the division and one of the top teams in the AFC, just based off of just him, going crazy every day, every game, and they play off of him, I think he has a good shot at winning MVP as well.
I don't necessarily hate that. I also think, when you talk about Joe Burrow, I mean, he went to the AFC, represented the AFC in the Super Bowl. They added a lot in that offensive line, so it should be a better offense with weapons on the outside, with a good running game. I mean, Joe Burrow is a guy who could necessarily win the MVP. I think the Aaron Rodgers thing, I think people have – I'm not sure how good the Packers are even going to be next season. Like, I know they have Aaron Rodgers, but when you look at their wide receiving core it's a lot of not good players. Like Sammy Watkins is kind of a shell of himself. If they sign Jarvis Landry here between now and the start of the regular season, but everybody else is a pretty unknown commodity when it comes to their wide receiving core. Al Lazar is probably your most proven weapon. Maybe there could be some regression there in Aaron Rodgers' game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I'm the first one to say it. They can't go into the season with this core. There's no way that they will be successful. I mean, nobody's going to take them seriously. They're going to pin their ears back every single time. And I don't care how good that offensive line is. They're still going to pin their ears back to go
I'm not so sure that offensive line is that good. So
I mean, it's a top 10 offensive line still.
I guess.
It's a good offensive line. Don't sugarcoat my offensive line over here, David. When your team has holes like with cheese.
I know.
Okay. So, anyways, it's a good line. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's a top 10 line in my opinion. And I think the teams will pin their ears back if you go in there with the wide receiver core like that, because the one thing that you'll say, Devonte Adams had the best release off the line. He could get open. I'm not sure I could say that about anybody else on the wide receiver core. That like who's going to be able to get open, win the one-on-one matchup. Not a lot of guys.
Not a lot of guys. But my final prediction when it comes to this particular war, I think it's going to be Josh Allen. Another interesting. We didn't even talk about Patrick Mahomes, but if Patrick Mahomes, if he's able to put up big numbers, even though he lost one of his top two weapons, that could be another guy who's be like, hey, I lost, Tyreek Hill, but yet I still put up crazy numbers and I still won the AFC West and I was still a top 2 seed in the AFC. Like, I in my opinion, this MVP is for sure coming out of the AFC. I just don't see a scenario where the MVP comes out of the NFC this year.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
Unless Dak Prescott has a crazy season or unless Tom Brady, has a crazy season. So this is the way I just honestly feel about it.
I agree. No, I totally agree. It's going to come out the AFC as well.
Moving on from most valuable player of the year, we got coach of the year, which is kind of a hard word to kind of predict because we don't really know how things are going to pan out. But one coach that's always kind of in the thick of things and always kind of, involved with the coach of the year is Mike Tomlin. If he could get this, you lose Ben Roethlisberger, who retires after 15 years as being your starting quarterback. If you could find a way to get this team to the playoffs or even in being remotely competitive in the AFC, with Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback. By the way, shout out to Mitchell Trubisky, who had his first son yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, TJ pointed out yesterday during the show. Mike Tomlin, is one guy, like if you can keep the Steelers afloat with, the Browns being better, the Ravens being better, Cincinnati Bengals with the Super Bowl last year. If, the Steelers are able to be in the thick of things, so he should be in the conversation for coach of the year.
Who won it last year again? Was it the guy from Cincinnati, right?
Mike Vrabel won it last year.
Oh, Mike Vrabel. Okay, Tennessee. Because that was actually going to be one of my picks. I think he can win back-to-back if he can do a wondrous year. Because I don't think anybody has the Titans even, going into the playoffs. If he can have that team win the division, go into the playoffs with basically nothing for Ryan Tannehill to throw to and Derrick Henry to give the ball to, I think he's another consideration for coach of the year. But I'm actually gonna pair it up with my MVP. If McDermott can have the best record in the AFC and he the best offense in the NFL and number 1 overall seed in the NFL, I think he's gonna be the coach of the year this year. So that's gonna be my pick.
I could definitely see that happening. When we look at, Zach Taylor could be another guy. If the Cincinnati Bengals continue to progress and continue to be a good team, look for Zach Taylor to be involved. Look for Brandon Staley to be involved, the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. If they take a major step forward this season, I could absolutely see them being the coach of the year. As many people expect the Chargers to take a step forward, including myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I do expect the Chargers to take a step forward. And I mean that blunder at the end of the game against the Raiders, that was uncalled for. That was just stupid. And so
it was.
You ain't gonna win many coach of the years. Making bonehead decisions like that as a coach.
And I think he's going to be a little more restricted on his play calling as a whole. Like I don't think we'll see the Chargers go for it as often on 4th down. I don't think we'll see the Chargers go for it as often on like 2-point conversions as often this season. Mm-hmm. I think that they're going to reel him in a little bit.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I look for the Chargers to. That's a tough division. The Chiefs, the Raiders are better. I don't know if the Chiefs are any better. I don't think that. I think they've gotten worse, in my opinion.
Well,
But I don't know.
they had a great draft, and James Bradbury is a guy who's hanging around, who's unsigned, who could become a Chief, and because they need secondary help. If they get James Bradbury, that would be a really nice addition to that team.
So like I said, that's going to be a tough division, man, to come out of. I mean, you're talking about 3 playoff teams potentially, with the 4th one kind of on the fringe, maybe as a playoff team, right? Because you got the Broncos. You got the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, with Russell Wilson,
the Raiders are going to be better, and the Chargers. So you're looking at, the 4th team could be a playoff team in the NFC, but they're out of the playoffs. So that's probably the toughest division in football. In my opinion, I think it's going to be tough.
So we got one person watching on YouTube right now. I'm going to pop in the link to our StreamYard. If you want to join us and talk about a little bit of the NFL awards, please feel free to do that. We got one person watching on YouTube. I think the other person is probably watching from Twitter or Twitch. But yeah, check us out. If you want to debate some of these awards, feel free to join us. I will admin you in. I sent you the link into the chat on YouTube. Feel free to join us in this conversation when it comes to the awards in the NFL. Let's move on from Coach of the Year to Defensive Player of the Year. So the Defensive Player of the Year seems like it's always kind of driven around some sort of narrative. So without knowing what the season has been so far, we can't really decide what the narratives are going to be. But who do you think is the front runner to win Defensive Player of the Year? With TJ won it last season, Aaron Donald won it the season before that. Do you see either of those two guys become winning the award again?
I can say, okay, I'm gonna go with I like the TJ Watt. I like the TJ Watt prediction. I do like him winning it probably back to back. Let me look at some of these cornerbacks. Let me look at Jalen Ramsey. Let me look at Jair Alexander. As a potential for maybe
Jair Alexander has to play this season a little bit.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. He's got to make a comeback. Let me look at a guy. Let me give you a dark horse. Devonte Campbell from the Packers. That's another guy that could possibly be a Defensive Player of the Year. Let's look at Joey Bosa.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett
is actually going to be my prediction for who I think will win this award. I like Myles Garrett as a player to come up with Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Micah Parsons, who had a standing rookie season, could only get better in year 2.
That's another guy right there. That's another dark horse right there, Micah Parsons.
Yeah. Khalil Mack, he was, I think he actually did win a Defensive Player of the Year while he was on the Raiders, or a runner-up for it. I mean, having him in a new scenario, new situation, kind of with Joey Bosa on the other side. Yeah. I mean, that could be a scenario where he becomes a sack machine again because he doesn't have to worry about double teams constantly because the double teams are going to be on the other side of the football.
Yeah, and this award has pretty much gone to the best defensive lineman, the guy that can get the most sacks, or the guy that can wreak the most havoc in the backfield, tackles for loss, sacks and stuff like that. But so we're kind of almost forgetting the art of the DB. We could throw a guy out there, Tyrann Mathieu, who just switched over to the Saints. He can elevate the Saints to being the number 1 defense in the NFL. Does he get any consideration since he was leading his team in tackles at the safety position? Getting sacks, getting interceptions, and he's all over the field. So a guy like Tyrann Mathieu could be in DPOY. If I had to make a pick, I had to make a very strong decision. I'm gonna go with TJ Watt winning it back-to-back years.
I don't hate that. I'm gonna go Myles Garrett. He's the betting odds in Vegas right now to be the betting favorite to win this award. You look at Myles Garrett, you look at the Cleveland Browns, that should be a team that's much improved from this season to last season. It should be a team that's, depending on whatever happens with Deshaun Watson, it doesn't seem like he's going to get suspended. I think that would have happened by now if it was going to. Another guy, Derwin James, if he can stay healthy, could be the catalyst. He could have that, Trayvon Matthew effect there in the Los Angeles as well for the Chargers. Chandler Jones on the Raiders could have another guy who could have that kind of effect as well.
Absolutely, yeah, Chandler Jones, and absolutely. I think he's another guy that is going to be up there in the league lead in sacks. So, that's another guy that can be a game changer for the Raiders. So.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, I'm going to go Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett has the best opportunity to win this award. That should be a Cleveland team that's good next season, without a doubt. Should be, just no questions asked.
Yes, sir. I don't hate it.
On the other side of the football, we got the Offensive Player of the Year. This award usually goes to the best best non-quarterback offensive player every single season. The only time it didn't is when that Adrian Peterson won the MVP, and Peyton Manning won offensive player of the year that season. Who do you think is going to happen with this one?
Man, offensive player of the year. If this guy stays healthy the whole season and he's happy, I don't know if he's going to get traded. If he stays put where he is, I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel as offensive player of the year. He does a little bit of both. I mean, he does a lot of catching, but they hand the ball off to him at least 10 times at the game. He's getting at least 40, 50 yards. He'll get a touchdown. I think he has the potential to get, 10 plus rushing touchdowns and, 15 receiving touchdowns with over, way over 2,000, at least, about over 2,000 all-purpose yards.
So Cooper Kupp won this award last year. He was very deserving. Basically, was the Triple Crown winner as the wide receiver position. Only been done 3 other times in the history of the league. But I'm actually going to go with another wide receiver that you're going to hate. Devonte Adams, I think, is going to win Offensive Player of the Year. I think that he's going to be rejuvenated in there in Las Vegas. Derek Carr's on a new contract now too. Devonte Adams, he's going to be playing, against. I think that's going to be a good connection there, and I think Devonte Adams is going to have a monster season. My other dark horse for this, I think, is got to go back to Jonathan Taylor, who was really good for this season, and I think when it comes to the Colts this season, they're going to lean on that running game. I think they understand that Matt Ryan is a good quarterback, but he's not. I don't think he's. If you're going to rely on Matt Ryan to win you a lot of football games, that you might be disappointed. Jonathan Taylor's going to need to be a focal point of this offense, even with a better player, Matt Ryan, than Carson Wentz was last season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like the Jonathan Taylor pick too. Another guy you can throw in there if he doesn't get injured is definitely Derrick Henry. He's another guy who's dark horse for MVP, in my opinion. But if he's healthy and he gets the Tennessee Titans into the playoffs, like I said, he can be Offensive Player of the Year easily this season.
Well, I think Derrick Henry is actually going to be more eligible for a different award. I will get to that in a little bit, but I think the Derrick Henry, I think he's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. We can talk about Comeback Player in a couple of minutes here, but I think because of the time missed for Derrick Henry and what he's going to bounce back and be productive, I think he's a surefire. Same thing with Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson too, who missed a lot of time last season, who could be for Comeback Player of the Year. But Devonte Adams is probably going to be my pick. If Cooper Kupp breaks a bunch of records next season, I could also see him repeating as Offensive Player of the Year as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally agree with you.
Yeah. So moving on from there, we got Offensive Rookie of the Year. So back to the NFL draft. So we had a lot of players drafted early in this draft. We got Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Jameson Williams probably won't play much of the season, so I don't think he's really in the mix. Treylon Burks, Kenny Pickett. The running backs were taken until later in this draft. Brace Hall in the second round. Who do you think is going to take home Offensive Rookie of the Year for this year?
Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Sky Moore from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh.
He's gonna step right in and he's going to contribute right away. And he's going to be one of Patrick Mahomes' favorite targets this year. And I'm going to go out on a whim and say Sky Moore is going to have 1,000 yards this season receiving. I
do really like that prediction. Sky Moore should be a guy that steps right in and gives you really good production right off the bat. He's a really good Tyreek Hill replacement. I'm actually going to go a different direction. I'm actually going to go the Green Bay Packers route, and I'm going to take Christian Watson. I do have questions about I know he's got prototypical size, but at North Dakota State they didn't ask him to run a lot of routes and they didn't ask him to do a lot of dynamic things. But Christian Watson is a guy who Green Bay is going to need to be productive right away. It's not like when they drafted Amari Rodgers and they're going to have ask him to return kicks constantly. No, they're going to need Christian Watson to be productive immediately because they don't have a lot of depth in their wide receiver room right now. Even though I know they signed Sammy Watkins, but Sammy Watkins was not good at all last season. And when it comes to Kenny Pickett, I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to play much this season, so he's probably out. The only other guy that I think has a real shot with winning this award, I think, is Drake London. I look for Atlanta to be a team that's looking to throw the football, even with Marcus Mariota as their quarterback now and not Matt Ryan. But Drake London was the first wide receiver taken. He had crazy numbers at USC before he got hurt. The dude is just a straight-out stud at wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I like Drake London. Another guy is Chris Olave as well.
Yeah, so going to the Saints, going to a situation where it should be beneficial. He doesn't have to be the number one guy there because they still have Michael Thomas for now.
Right. And if you can get, I don't know if Jameis Winston's going to be rolling out, but even if it should be, I don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like going into next season. That's the only thing. But Chris Olave,
they're gonna it's gonna be Jameis Winston because they've already told what's his name that he's gonna be Taysom Hill that he's gonna be the backup and he's gonna be more of a tight end.
Now, do you think that Jameis Winston is going to be ready or prepared? I mean, since he tore his stuff up, what was that, week 4 or 5?
11?
Was it 11?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it was pretty deep into the season.
Christ. It was pretty deep into the season. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, depending on, how that goes, if Jameis Winston is back there, look for Chris Olave as well. And then, out of the running backs, a guy that is going to be sneaky who got taken in the second or third round, if I'm not mistaken, James Cook. That went to the Bills. Yeah. He's another sneaky guy.
Dalvin Cook's brother.
Yep, Dalvin Cook's little brother. He's another sneaky guy that you got to watch out for, to get like 1,000 yards next season. So
I'm also not crazy about any of the wide receivers or running backs in this draft class. Do you think this could be a scenario where we see a non-wide receiver running back quarterback win offensive rookie of the year? Could we see a scenario where Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu, Charles Cross, where they win the offensive rookie of the year? They're the best offensive rookie by a landslide and they end up winning this award. Do you think
there's been a lot of teams? There's been a lot of times where that's happened where the lineman was the best rookie, probably should have won the award, didn't allow the least amount of sacks and a certain amount of years or whatever the case is.
Rashawn Slater last year, the dude was awesome last year, but I mean Jamar Chase was incredible, so you couldn't really give the award to him over.
Yeah,
Rashawn
well, they don't
Slater.
They contribute to the offense, but they don't get teams aren't the play, the casual fan or the NFL fan, they're not looking at the offensive lineman scoring touchdowns. He's a part of the offense. He's a part of the machine, but he's not the part where he's scoring touchdowns, getting the glory.
But I think because of people like PFF, Pro Football Focus, where they've come out and they've given grades to every position, they have a tangible score that they can put on every single player at every single position, and they can put scores on these offensive linemen now, where they can how many sacks they give up, how many penalties they allowed, did they get beat off the line, were they helped by a holding call? Those stats now exist where people can look at the offensive line positions, give tangible evidence that hey, this guy is really good. We should be recognizing that. I think this could be a season where we actually do see an offensive lineman win the award. Because Drake London going to Atlanta, and the quarterback situation is kind of a mess. Garrett Wilson, quarterback situation is a mess. Their offensive line is kind of trash. New Orleans Saints is, as we mentioned at the beginning of this, this topic here. Chris Olave. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be week 1. We assume it's going to be Jameis Winston, but we don't know for sure. Jameson Williams probably not going to play a lot this season. Treylon Burks.
Not going to play at all this season, next season. Probably at the end of the season, maybe. Yeah.
Treylon Burks, he goes into Tennessee and automatically has to become the number 1 weapon there in Tennessee. That's probably not a great situation for a rookie. Kenny Pickett. Probably not going to play a lot this season. When you get into the Christian Watson, a rookie who's coming off of a running-heavy offense, we don't really know what it's going to look like in the pro level. Bryce Hall goes into a crowded running back room. Kenneth Walker, Seattle, sounded the same situation. Even though I have heard of rumors that Chris Carson, his career is probably done.
And now Seattle's not a great situation, right? They don't have a good line. They don't have a quarterback, ideal quarterback. They don't have any. They only have DK Metcalf as their prime and Tyler Lockett as their primary weapons, but they don't have a quarterback to keep the defenses honest. So, I look at James Cook as probably the running back that's probably going to put up the best numbers in this class.
Yep. I do like this guy more pick a lot. I'm actually going to change my vote. I think Evan Neal's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Think so? I look at it as people are looking at touchdowns. They ain't looking at offensive linemen.
But this is not a fan voted award. This is voted by people who follow the game extremely closely, when they can see these guys giving tangible impact on a day-to-day basis.
I'll see. We'll see. I'll be surprised. Now,
I'm shocked it happens too. I'm not saying it's going to, but
Evan Neal. Where did Evan? I forget where Evan Neal.
The Giants.
The Giants. Okay, so if they have a stat where it's Saquon Barkley, say Saquon Barkley ran for a career high in yards, which I doubt, and they say, okay, when he ran behind Evan Neal on that side, and he ran for the most yards and had the most touchdowns on that side, then I think Evan Neal might get some consideration.
Yeah, we'll see. That's a long shot, but I think this is the one of those draft classes where offensive linemen are going to be the best offensive rookies in this draft class. Everybody else is just kind of,
Yeah, like that Tyler Linderbaum pick. That's
dude, that dude should be could be a Pro Bowler this season. Like that's how good he is already.
Yeah, he could be.
Moving on from offensive rookie of the year to the defensive side of the football. Who do you think kicks home the defensive rookie of the year?
Man, there's a lot of good defensive rookies out here. I'm gonna go with two guys. I'm gonna go with either Jermaine Johnson, or I'm gonna go with Kyle Hamilton. But I'm leaning more towards Jermaine Johnson. I think Jermaine Johnson's gonna have double-digit sacks. I think he's gonna have an immediate impact for the Jets. Right? That's what the Jets. Yep. I think he's gonna have an immediate impact as a pass rusher. They need it. And I think you're gonna see Jermaine Johnson. I'm gonna go with ballpark around 13 sacks for Jermaine Johnson this season.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm gonna stay in New York. I'm gonna go Kayvon Thibodeau. I just look at what the offensive line that he's going to be going up against playing for the Giants. The Cowboys kind of offensive line kind of in a mess. The Eagles kind of a mess, and the Washington Commanders offensive line is kind of a mess too. Kayvon Thibodeau could be a guy who puts up double-digit sacks in his first season.
And also, I love Kayvon Thibodeau, and I'm gonna tell you this why, because the guy automatically like when he stepped on that stage, and just like certain pre-draft stuff, right? He just seems like he is already like a 3 or 4 year veteran in the league. Do you kind of get that vibe from Kayvon Thibodeau? Like he's already prepared. He already knows. Like it's like this is nothing to him. He feels like a veteran. When he walked on the NFL draft stage, I was like, damn, this guy's getting drafted. I could have sworn like this guy was in the league. That's how the kind of presence that he has in a way. It's he upholds himself like a pro.
And the nonsense that surrounded him in pre-draft, where it was like, oh, he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. Like, no, like Kayvon Thibodeau was like how you had an Oregon team that wasn't really going anywhere. You're going to jeopardize your draft stock to try to push Oregon into a bowl game that that you won't care about. Protect your draft stock. It's got to be number one. It's got to be protecting your future. And Kayvon Thibodeau, he looks like a prototypical edge. Like he's built to play in the National Football League, and I think he's going to be productive right away.
I think and the thing is it's just like his aura. It's just like he just reminds me of a pro already. I mean, you rarely see those guys. It's like in college, he was a man amongst men. Like he made his own decisions. He wasn't no yes sir, no sir kind of guy. I mean, maybe at the pro level he is, but I mean, he even said it like I don't miss not getting paid to play football. That's something a pro says, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not like a rookie. And so he's that confident. So I like that. I like Kayvon Thibodeau. I like Jermaine Johnson as well. We'll see. Another sneaky dark horse here, Nakobe Dean, who fell all the way down the third round. If Nakobe Dean is anything like how he was at Georgia, he will get consideration for Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year.
Completely agree with you on that one. I also like Sauce Gardner going to the Jets as well. He could he could be looking for a good season out of there as well. And then Aiden Hutchinson's shoe is Michigan the edge. The offensive line on at least two of the teams that he's going to be playing against on a regular basis is going to be not good. So the Vikings and the Bears have two of the worst offensive lines in the National Football League. So we'll see how that ends up working out. To the final award, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, and there's actually a shocking amount of players that are on the list for this award. Of the odds makers, who have the highest odds. So Derrick Henry has odds number 1 at 300. Deshaun Watson is 2 at 450. James Winston 650. Michael Thomas 900. We have Chris McCaffrey at 1600. J.K. Dobbins at 1600. Chase Young at 1600. A-Rob at 2000. Cam Akers at 2000. Travis Etienne 2500. How do you see this award shaking out when it's all said and done? When it comes back, Comeback Player of the Year.
Man, you could also throw. I don't know if Lamar Jackson's in there as well. Did he play too much last season or what?
I mean, this award is so Like I don't know, because Daniel Jones didn't miss that much time, and he has 750 odds. He has higher odds than Michael Thomas, who didn't play a game last season. Like I don't know.
I don't think Michael Thomas is going to win it. It's actually, I think it'll come down to Derrick Henry. And who's the other guy that you mentioned? Who are the other guys you mentioned?
Deshaun Watson, Winston, J.K. Dobbins has got really high odds.
Okay.
Which I actually could see J.K. Dobbins winning this award if he has a monster season.
So if Jameis Winston comes back healthy and does what he did last season, like that little I don't know how many games was.
I mean, he played 11 games last season. I'm pretty sure.
11 games. Yeah. I don't think he played. I don't even remember him playing that many games. But yeah, if Jameis Winston could come back and play at a high, all-time level with Michael Thomas and Chris Olave, I think he has a shot. But yeah,
he played 7 games last season. I apologize.
Played 7 games. Yeah, he played 6-7 games. Yeah. So yeah, I think Jameis Winston. It's going to come down to Derrick Henry or Jameis Winston. I don't think any other running back like J.K. Dobbins or Christian McCaffrey, I don't think they have a shot at this award unless they just go crazy. Like Christian McCaffrey, returns to his second year form. You know what I mean? That's the only way. That's the only way I think he can supersede Derrick Henry and winning this award. Because it's inevitable. They're going to give the ball to Derrick Henry. And he's going to run for 2,000 yards this season. Okay,
because they're not going to trust Ryan Tannehill to win them games. We've seen that narrative. We see how that goes. It doesn't go well. But I actually could see J.K. Dobbins winning this because he's probably going to be the lead back there in Baltimore in a run-heavy offense with an offensive line that's going to be better next season, on paper at least. He tore his ACL. He didn't play a single game last season, so he's going to be rested, and they're going to want to run him into the ground, I'm sure.
And I don't think with the stigma that's kind of around Deshaun Watson, I don't think he'll get this award. Despite if he plays out of his mind in Cleveland, I don't think he'll win this award.
Because they typically give this award to somebody who's coming off an injury, not somebody who was just
legal battles. Yeah,
they don't usually hey, you battled the court system for 2 years, and so we're gonna give you a comeback player of the year. Like the way they're gonna do this.
It doesn't work like that. And then I look at Michael Thomas, and I'm like, yeah, he can deserve the award. But if Jameis Winston has a great year, and that contributes to Michael Thomas having a great year, then I think you got to give it to Jameis.
I 100% agree with you on that. But yeah, I'm actually, and so Derrick Henry I think is gonna win this. My dark horse is gonna be J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins has a real shot. He's gonna be the bell cow there. His narrative is excellent. Where he didn't play a single game last season, and this is gonna be a Ravens team that's gonna need him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. I totally agree with you on that one.
But we'll see. If you guys have any other predictions for how you think these things awards are going to pan out, let us know down in the comment section. We have this posted at NFL Supreme. We also have this posted some other places like our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, and our Twitter channel.
I got one more comeback player of the year. Real super dark horse, Zadarius Smith in Minnesota. If he can get back to 15 plus sacks or whatever next to Danielle Hunter. And that team was leading the league in sacks at some point last season.
They were.
So
they're the league in sacks and giving up sacks and sacks taken. Like they had the highest on both of those levels. So we'll see.
Jesus Christ! That's a guy to look out for.
But yeah, thank you for checking us out. All the places: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're also on Twitch. This has been Prime Sports World. I've been David Hupp, and right there is Mr. Israel Rivera, CEO of Prime Sports World. And Izzy, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. We bring the heat, and it is 87 degrees and sunny here in Chicago, so let's let things cool down a little bit. We will see you guys all tomorrow. We're going to be doing an NBA show tomorrow. I believe so. I don't know. We'll see. But continue checking us out because we're going to continue to pumping out good content. You guys all have a good rest of your day and stay safe out there.
Peace out, guys.
Peace out.